Click, buy, deliver. With remote purchasing from the 2-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasing the Racing.
3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasing the Racing, episode 116. And it is actually 116 this time. Last week I said 116 when I meant 115. And we're delighted to be joined by Franco Bourne, who's currently competing in the Junior Superstock 600 Championship at BSB. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, cheers.
How's it going?
Yeah, thank you for having us. I'm happy to be here.
No bother. And obviously
you made that sound like you were under gunpoint there. I'm not going to lie. You were like, I'm happy to be here. Read the note carefully and slowly. There you go. You sound. I tell you what, you've got. How old are you?
17 now.
17. You sound like you're a 40-year-old smoker. That's such a bassy voice. You've got a voice for like a rock band. You know, if motorcycles don't work out for you, which is highly unlikely to be fair. But if it does fail you, just get into music. You know, just become a millionaire. You know how it is.
You can obviously tell by the northeast accent as well. You don't live too far. Where exactly are you from?
I'm over in. Well, I'm sort of around the Crook area, but I live in Stanley Crook, so it's not too far from you, is it?
That's where he wears a black cap all the time, hiding his identity. It's a rough end. I'll tell you what, get rid of that stupid thing on your head. We'll give you a present that you have to wear forever. I'm being serious. Stop giggling. Put the hat on.
No,
that's yours.
This is my nice. This is my nice.
Is that you got a lucky? Is that a lucky hat?
Yeah, I wear quite a lot now.
Do you?
Yeah.
Are you superstitious at all?
No.
No. Excuse. Are you superstitious?
No, I wouldn't say so. No.
No, it's interesting that you'd think with such a like quote unquote dangerous sport, you'd think we'd have a few more superstitious people, but it just shows how laid back we all are. It's like, yeah, fuck it, it'll be all right, job, isn't it?
And I tell you what, this is probably.
But you can have the hat though. So.
This is probably
hat,
the quickest turnaround that we're ever doing on the podcast, because usually we'll get a podcast done like a week in advance, or sometimes get a couple done the same day. So this podcast is hopefully going to be quite recent because it's Sunday night now, and I'm hoping that my little sister's going to do an all-nighter and get it straight out. So it should be out Monday, maybe Tuesday if we're running a bit behind. But obviously the advantage of that is we can actually talk about things that have just happened over the weekend. And me and Franco have been down to BSB, and Dom's been the other. So we've travelled north to get back to Newcastle, and you've travelled south. Where have you been this weekend?
I've been at a circuit that I've just found out you didn't pretty much ever hear of, like East Fortune, Scotland. Have you ever been around, Franco?
Yeah. I did a few on the 125 because to get into the British Talent Cup, I remember you had to get your signatures to get rid of your vest and stuff. So we did loads of different tracks all over the country just to get some signatures. So
what clubs was that with then? What's on your license? What was on your license?
We sort of did like Darley Moor, things like that. Same place, East Fortune, just the small little tracks what you don't really go with BSB, stuff like that.
And what age were you there? So okay, I feel like we should just wheel in instead of the East Fortune guy. Let's just wheel in. So racing, so did you have a motocross background before you jumped in the tarmac scene?
Well, my dad used to take me up the field on a little Pee-wee 50, but
was it stolen, being from Stanley Crook? Let's
yeah,
face
it might have been, yeah. No, so he used to take me up, and I used to love it, just riding around on the field, stuff like that. And I remember watching mini moto race and things like that, and I just asked him if he'd get me a mini moto. And I remember he was building one for ages in the garage, and it wasn't getting anywhere. And one Christmas, he actually got me one. And at the time, he was working down at Metalink, and there was a massive car park there. So he asked the boss if he could just take me down and just put a few cones out and just go around a few cones, stuff like that. And then that was sort of where it started. We were doing stuff like that, and we joined Bikewise. I think you'll heard of Bikewise, Chrissy.
Well, I was going to say, was that the initial like go on a bike?
No, well, what we did was, obviously the first time was just down the car park on my own little. I think the engine in it was literally off a strimmer or something like that. So it wasn't much clever, but yeah. And then when we wanted to get a little bit more serious, we went to Bikewise, and they set up every other Sunday a few cones at a little park and ride over where. It's over. I can't remember. Do you know where Jake Hopper lives over?
Aye.
Yeah, it's.
I can't remember the place.
I'm not sure of the name. Yeah, but every other Sunday, yeah, we did set that up, and we just did that for a bit and started enjoying it a bit more and stuff.
There's a few people from the northeast that have actually got into bike, like the sport, through the Bikewise thing, and it's set up. Is it through the police or something?
Yeah, it's Durham Police who do it. It's a man called Bob Brown who actually set it up. He's been good friends with us for years now since we started. He was really good with us when we started there. But I don't think he actually runs it now. It's someone else who runs it. I'm not 100% what they do there, but I haven't been there in ages, so I'm not 100%.
I thought it was a once a year. They have a Durham bike show every year, don't they? That's when I first saw it. So they had it set off to the side, and I had like everyone going around the mini motors. I thought so. Every Sunday they do this.
I don't think it's every Sunday. I think it's like every other Sunday or something like that. Or at least it was when I did it. I'm not 100% what they do now.
How many off the were you? Like doing this on
well, there's a lot of different. It ranges from a lot of different kids who literally just are very slow and just want to go and have a ride every other Sunday, or to sort of kids like actual racers who want to build up and go on to that.
I know James Alderson, another sort of northeast lad who's in Stock 600. Yeah. He actually got a race win earlier in the year, but he's out with an injury at the moment. Yeah. He got into the sport through Bikewise, turned up at that yearly show and seen the mini bikes, and then sort of got into it like that. And I think there's quite a few. I mean, it's a great idea. It's a shame.
It's a mint idea.
Yeah. We always knew James as well, because he only lives literally 2 minutes ride away from my house, because he's down in Waterhouses. And my house is just out the back of Stanley. So all I need to do is just fly down the lines and I'm into Waterhouses. So
it's mad you cover all the country, and then like you might have been battling with
literally, because we were quite close together at Donington as well. So it was good to be on track with him.
So are you two like mates?
We're not so much mates, because he was a little bit older than me, and he started to sort of progress a little bit more than me, because he was older, and he went to BSB before me, and then. But yeah, I think he did Moto 3 as well, didn't he? He did that when it was Motorstar, he did that. But,
we've actually got 4 lads from the Northeast in Stock 600 at the moment, where usually there's hardly any.
4?
Usually there's not that many in the paddock, but there's been a bit of a Geordie resurgence recently. And there's yourself, Charlie Farrer, Jake Hopper, and James Alderson. You're 4 strong, and obviously this weekend you had a mega. Mega show.
We struggled a little bit last week at Thruxton, but it was just a bit annoying really, because the lap times that what we needed we were sort of doing to be closer to the front, but just because we got a really bad qualifying, we were just too far back to make any moves to get further to the front. So
instead of jumping to this weekend,
we massively jumped from mini motorbike again. Went straight into fair enough. So all right, so mini motos, you went from there, and let's carry on.
Yeah, we went from mini motos, and then we were just doing Bikewise every weekend, and it was just sort of, it wasn't really enough after that. We were getting a little bit bored of it.
Still in a car park.
Yeah, still in a car park at Bikewise. Yeah. And they did sort of odd nights, at Walden Law Circuit, over there. So we did I think it was Tuesday night. Yeah, it's
we raced go-karts there a few weeks ago.
Yeah, the go-kart track.
I thought they didn't allow mini bikes there.
I don't think they do anymore, but
were you going after hours?
They definitely used to, but they were always really strict with people. It was always expensive. They always put you on the small track, but it's years since I've been, to be fair.
Right, because that would be a mint track to go around, to be fair.
Yeah, it's a good little track, isn't it?
So after that then?
After that, we started doing Scottish mini bikes up in Scotland with Alan McIntosh. He's helped Lewis Rollo come through Stocktown and things like that. I don't know if he still helps him today, but he definitely did. Same sort of thing. We went through that, and then we just wanted to progress like everyone else was, and that's when we started. It was called NMRC at the time, which is now I think BMB, isn't it? Then we sort of did that for a bit. Then we went over to Fab like everyone else, and then same sort of. I'm going through a bit quick. I think.
No, this is all right. The mad thing is, it's like when you first get your highlight situation. So it's a bit like I know of you since the British Talent. And we'll get into when you got into that. Yeah. But like since you just kind of think, and the way everyone portrays these situations, like you've just appeared out of a box and just gone. You've actually got a lot of skill set beforehand, haven't you? So.
Yeah, so it sort of when everyone thought that Fab was sort of the best championship around then when we were doing BMB, and we were winning all the races there. So we thought that we'd go and try Fab. And I think it was Rowra, you had a track day not too long there, didn't you, Chris? Yeah. But yeah, we went to Rowra for the first time, and I actually won the first race. I went to Fab on the GP70s. So obviously it was just we were just buzzing to have won it. So we actually stayed with Fab because we realised there was so much more competition there, and there was a lot faster people there.
At this point, are you from a racing family?
No.
So was this just totally because when you say you go to Fab, nearly all the dads are like have either raced themselves or like well into it. So for you, like who did you turn up with?
Well, like I said, my grandma and granddad's always they've always taken me along, but it was my dad who sort of initially, like I say, he bought me my first mini motor and stuff. So when it was a little bit cheaper with the mini motors, my dad took care of that, but my grandma and grandma helped out after that.
You see, grandma and granddad, which side of the family then? Is
that's
it your
my
dad?
dad's. Yeah, that's my dad's parents. Yeah,
there we go. So like, what about their love for it then? Like,
yeah.
There's been a lot of persuasion going on here, which has been fantastic.
You know, I've never had to push them or anything. They've always sort of like they've always just been there for when I needed it, really. So
brilliant.
I can just say as well, like Fab racing is like very, very high level, and when you go there, there'll be some of the dads will have the bikes like absolutely. There's loads of little like niche things, isn't there, that you learn with the bikes. So to just turn up without like even within just yourselves, like not in a team and like sort of a bit green. Would you say?
Yeah. I mean, there was definitely a few times we turned up because my dad couldn't make it every weekend back then, so there was a few times that we would go, just me, my grandma and granddad, and I remember I'd have to get my own tyre warmers off, run and jump start my bike, but obviously I would never warm it up because you'd have to put the tyre warmers back on and stuff like that, and I could never do that on my own. So in the end, my two-stroke at one point, someone said you're going to have to start warming it up because it's not right the way that you're just going out, literally bump starting it, riding it to the pits and then going straight out. But
cold seas, cold what? Straight off the back.
Yeah, especially on a two-stroke. But
what age were you then?
I'm not really sure to remember.
10?
Yeah, a little bit older, I'd say, maybe 11, around that sort of age. So,
right, put yourself back in your mindset of 11-year-old. That is phenomenal. Like, see, I can't remember anything from 11-year-old. What about you, Chrissy? Can you 11? No, I meant your mindset of what you want out of life. Can you remember what you wanted out of life at 11?
Don't get me wrong, I don't want to say like every weekend I was just working on my I was
I don't
want to say we did have a lot of help from my dad and stuff like that, but
like if you could go back to 11, like let's talk serious here, you know what I mean? It's a bit 11-year-old. Do you really see what you wanted in the future at that point?
Yeah. I just think I was just enjoying it so much, and that you just love it so much, you don't know.
Because we've got doing it.
I was actually doing the same thing when I was 11, metric at 70s at Fab Racing, but I was at the back.
no, but like, see, like 11 though, where you're just like, right, I want to be MotoGP rock star. I'm trying to think of like an 11-year-old mindset. You just don't think like that.
So you're just going to school, aren't you, and just like going through the motions, but then going racing bikes at weekends. It's pretty cool.
It is cool, but you see, what definitive age did that change for you lot? See, I first got on a bike at 21, so it's a bit like, you know what I mean? It was, but you know where I'm coming from on this. It's a bit like, at what point? Because now, you know, your grandma and your granddad have 100% behind you, 100% dedicated to your parents are, all your friends and family are. Yeah. But, you know, for yourself to actually have that drive, and you've gone through the same thing. What age was that for you two? You know, that switch of going, let's have a proper crack at it. Let's have a proper crack at this. That must have been an age for you.
I don't know.
I think it's sort of just you enjoy it that much, and then you grow to love it, and you don't want to do it, if you know what I mean. But I think the more you get older, the more you realise what you're doing and sort of how serious it all is. So
I want a number out of the pair of you, just for the crack.
I think you constantly realise as you get older and sort of what you're doing. But
I still want a number.
For me, I think it'd be hard to put a number on it. I don't know.
Oh, you're so political.
I'll let you go first, Chrissy, with that one.
Well, I'm not 100% sure what you mean, to be honest. Like, from that age when you're like sort of 11, just going racing, and then the next year, it's just like you basically get onto a train, and the train's moving, and at the end of the season, everyone moves on to the next thing, and it's just the not continual. So like the next thing's Super Teens, and then you finish Super Teens, and it's either like a 400 or a thing, and it's just a train track, and you just aren't.
Oh, I'm fully aware. I'm on the same train, lads. But I'm trying to think. Like for me, it was 21 and 22. I want to do this for the rest of my life.
From the very first time I rode a bike, I've always wanted to like the whole of my life.
Literally, motocross. The second you got a motocross, your earliest memory was like, I need to do this for the rest of my life.
Way before motocross, though, when I was 7-year-old, the very first time.
Now we're getting numbers here. This is how a conversation progresses.
The very first time getting on a bike, I just that thrill of moving without pedal power is just phenomenal.
Yeah,
and just being
yeah, I
like,
know
this
what you
is the
mean,
greatest
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
and then you learn slide and things, and then it's just jumps and whatever. It's just mega. But
When you're talking about like 11-year-old taking his own bike off of his granddad, bump starting on called seizures, that's 100% dedication, isn't it?
Yeah.
And after the Metro Kids, did you go Super Teens as well?
Yeah. There was nothing else for us to do because of our age. We were sort of in a weird position we couldn't go to Bemsey because I think to ride a 300 you had to be a little bit older than I was at that point, so we couldn't go. That was literally all we had. And then, like I say, we were sort of going through trying to get signatures, because I think through that season we'd heard about the British Talent Cup and things like that. So yeah, we started going through that, trying to get all of our signatures and stuff. And
at the time, was the British Talent Cup fully funded?
It was sort of just coming around, if you know what I mean. So it was, but yeah, at that point it was like the big tent, both the trucks, the full team, like sort of like the Red Bull rookies.
And the application process for that,
yeah.
Did you have to go to like training days?
It's basically the same as the Red Bull rookies. So instead of like obviously going out to Spain like they did, they had a day at Silverstone on the little store circuit. I think they used CBR 250s, and it was basically just a Red Bull selection event, to be honest.
And did you enjoy enjoy that process? And
through the day, I thought it was horrible. I was so stressed through the day, because at that point I remember thinking like, this is it. Yeah, this is it.
Just to put for people that aren't aware, to put like a sort of monetary value on the prize of getting a ride.
Yeah.
You would have to, if you were to pay full price for that, you would have to say it would be £50,000, something like that.
Yeah.
So for like
for
like a 50 to £100,000.
Yeah.
So for somebody that's like sort of 14 or whatever at the time,
Yeah.
you've basically got like a chance to earn like, let's round it up, go in the middle, 75,000 quid that day, but like you're competing against loads of other kids. I mean, it is proper stressful.
Who was your competition at that point? Like, you knew, when you turned up at the track and went, shit, oh shit, here we go.
I remember, obviously, Charlie Farrell, we've always come through with him, and he's always been right there where I've been. No matter what happens, where I am, we've always sort of ended up same championships and racing with each other on the same track. So not someone that I was sort of looking for, but he's always been sort of around and racing with.
And I've got Storm Stacey was in it that year as well. Rory Skinner. There's some great names in that. Rory Skinner was sort of stuck in that thing where I think he'd been racing Red Bull rookies and over in Spain, and he was kind of good enough to make it to the one of the top teams over there, but just never had an opportunity or the money to go. So they kind of, I think it was a bit of a last minute thing to go in the British Talent Cup, and he was definitely the favourite. But I think it maybe helped the likes of yourself having like a top. At least you were comparing yourself against a very high level.
The best,
what was the British Talent Cup like as an experience for yourself?
Well, for me, I only did the 1 year. Some people got a second year at it. I only did the one. But yeah, I mean, it was, for me, I struggled that year because it was my first year on a Moto 3, and it's quite a hard bike to get to know. But yeah, I was sort of dicing first 17s, 18s, things like that, most of the year. And I ended up coming out with a 6th at the end of the year, so it was an alright year for us. But
and they were very strict in terms of people coming in, like I think it was one helper per rider into the Omen. Did you have your dad or?
We had someone called Keith Taylor who's actually helping Charlie Farrer now. He's helping him.
He's a local lad, isn't he?
He lives in Crook as well.
There we go. I remember the name rings a bell. That's all. The name rings a bell.
So. Yeah, it was a good year in the British Talent Cup. Looking back on it, I wouldn't have thought it was for me as much, but definitely.
Why is that then?
Just for sort of how strict and on you they were all the time. It was very sort of, you had to do everything perfectly in line, you know what I mean? And I just think for a young kid at that time, it was a little bit strict, if you know what I mean.
Do you mean in terms of your diet and weight and things like
definitely
that?
With the weight. I mean, they used to check your weight every time we came back, and I was quite chubby at that point, so it was definitely a lot of stress riding back then.
So you're saying you're quite chubby because you're a thin lad,
I've lost a lot of weight since then.
How much weight do you think you've lost then?
Probably about a stone, I'd say.
Jesus.
Yeah, altogether, so it's not too bad.
It's all them tabs.
It is there's a difficult line in terms of, like, obviously for the sport, and in terms of the idea of putting, like millions. It probably was millions of pounds into the championships to try and get British talent through. So it has to be very professional. But then there is that line of you know, kids are grown up and like sort of going through puberty, and it's difficult to be, especially with weight and stuff. But you can understand it from their point of view that they have
I understand
to be.
it was like they had a lot of pressure on them as well to.
Yeah, it is cutthroat. It's like a cutthroat business, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean that is how it is, isn't it?
But, and then did you just not get invited for this?
No, I didn't get invited for the second year. I was absolutely gutted when I first found out that I didn't get another year. But looking back on it, it was the right choice for us anyway.
Mm-hmm. At what point did you find out? Like I meant, like timetable was March. Was it quite late on or early? Or?
It was literally. So we finished Valencia. We finished the race on the Sunday. We found out on that Sunday. Okay. So it was people were all sat waiting. They came in, spoke to you one at a time. You came back out, sat in the chair, and it was just like that. They went through from 1 to 24 or whatever I think it was. So it was a bit brutal. There was a few people with tears and things like that because obviously they wanted another year there. But
tell you what, that develops thick skin from a young age. I'm being serious, you know what I mean? It's that little that brutalisation of it.
Yeah.
What was like racing in Valencia, the final MotoGP? Like?
Yeah. That was mint. Obviously racing ass and things like that as well. That was a good opportunity as well. The only thing that I look back on, they did a race, I think with Brno, what they did on the second year, and that was sort of the only really thing I would have liked to have done because obviously it's Brno, but I wasn't too bothered looking back on it.
Did they have many sort of MotoGP riders or like people come in and speak to you and like?
I think it was Danny Rabalta. I think that's his name. He was awesome. I thought he was definitely really helpful. There was a few problems what they had. I think they had one person working on the suspension through like the full 24 riders.
Never.
So they had one person. Don't get me wrong. I thought he was really good, but he was sort of rushing around, like changing everyone's suspension all in one big rush. And I just thought it's hard to get a good setup when everybody's focusing on 24 riders.
I would love to see that book. No, seriously, because the thing is that 24 lads with 24 different styles, essentially. Yeah. How much difference?
Yeah.
You know, that'd be some reading that might, wouldn't it?
Did you think it brought you on as a rider in terms of your technique?
Yeah, I mean, just time on the Moto3 really I thought was good. It was a bit strange on how different my bike was at BSB from the bike at British Talent Cup because they were supposedly standard bikes, but they had little extra bits here and there. What were
like
better
what?
than mine.
Like the oomph, engine wise.
Yeah, exhaust, things like that. They had better brakes. They had better suspension, like very good suspension. Just things like that.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely I enjoyed the bike at British Talent Cup more than the one that I had at the time at BSB, which was a little bit hard going from one bike which felt so different to going back to the one at BSB. So
and then the following year, they called it. Sorry, it was the year after they called it the British Talent Cup. But it was
basically Motorstar, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and obviously you had a cracking year.
Yeah.
Who was your main sort of rivals that year?
Charlie Farrer.
Yeah, Charlie Farrer was up there again. Harvey Claridge, Casey O'Gorman. I think he was there a few races as well.
Casey must have been very young then, was he?
Yeah, he was young. He was obviously still very fast at the time as well. But yeah, I think someone else was always in the battles. But him who got the Eddie O'Shea. Sorry, he obviously got the reward for going over to Spain.
Yeah, and up till that point, the people that had won the Motorstar tended to go on to the CEV over there, or Red Bull Rookies. And after winning it yourself, was Eddie something like second or third in the championship?
Yeah, I think Eddie ended up third in the end.
It must have been difficult, you winning it, and then the lad in third getting the...
Yeah, the thing for me is... I wasn't sure that ride for like the Red Bull Rookies is for me because I wasn't sure if that was exactly where I want to go in racing anyway. But it was sort of just the way that I think they went about it. It was a bit annoying. We literally, because we were supposed to, I think, the FIM Awards. We got invited to that because that was one of the things you got for winning. But COVID came about at that time. That got cancelled, so we didn't get to go to that. And we didn't hear a word from them apart from that. We didn't hear literally nothing, nothing like you haven't got it, sorry, or anything like that. It was just sort of just nothing really.
What was the ride? Who was it with?
Well, you got the Eddie's. Obviously, they could have give two of the rides like to two people, but obviously you want the same rider doing both, really. So you get the Red Bull Rookie ride, and then you get the British Talent Team ride in the Junior World Championship. So it's definitely a good opportunity for someone who wants it.
Yeah, and was it a case of, were you just a bit older than Eddie, and is that why this? Do you think?
The size of me, looking at me on the bike, I definitely look a lot bigger than Eddie. He's just obviously he's a lot smaller. He's skinny.
How
he's
tall
younger. I'm not sure to be fair. I think about 5'7", about that.
What height is he then?
I'm not sure. He's a lot
He's a
smaller.
dwarf.
Yeah, he's skinny. Yeah, so he's sort of what they want really. Younger, they can sort of teach him a bit better.
And when you said you're not sure about what it would have been for you, are you thinking more going sort of 600? Maybe Super Sport or 1,000 routes?
Yeah. I think that'd be more for me.
Fair enough. So I think everything always works out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, throughout this whole, Red Bull and everything like that, everything that you've gone through, did they actually put you through any like media training, anything like that?
No. Well, they did sort of through British Talent Cup. There was a lot of media really. There's a lot of interview stuff like that.
Because I have no media training. That's blatantly obvious. I think that's totally blatantly obvious. But you're sitting opposite, very calm, cool, and collected, and very, it just seems so very natural to you. If you know what I mean?
No, we did quite a bit with British Talent Cup. There was definitely a lot of awkward things what we had to do really. So yeah, I think it maybe toughened me up a little bit for stuff I had to do, but I don't find it too bad anyway.
No, you don't. You just
yeah.
Oh, that stupid hat, but that's what
I remember I think it was the first year in British Talent Cup, might have been second year, when a couple of the riders ended up getting serious injuries, just like messing around on BMXs and stuff.
Yeah. It was they got quite serious about that in the end.
I'm not surprised because you see, like at the time there was like say 30 of you all on these like free rides with like basically like massive money going into it to try, and then there was there something like a broken arm.
Yeah, I think a broken wrist as well. Someone broke their wrist falling down some stairs or something like that. And
whatever. Doing something else.
On a push bike.
All right, there we are. That makes sense.
Yeah. But they did get quite serious. They were not happy about that at all.
I'm not surprised. And just before we move on to the 600 era, the Motorstock came down to like the last race of the season, didn't it?
Yeah, literally last race of the season.
Talk us through what I do vaguely remember. But just talk us through.
So going into Brands, I wasn't really in the running for the championship. I was just sort of wanted to win both the races. So I didn't really feel any pressure to win the championship or anything like that. I just had to go and try and win the race really. So obviously I went out in the first race, I got a mint start, got off, didn't really see anyone after that. I think I got passed on the back straight once, and then I think I went off from then. And then there was a crash just behind me with Harvey and Casey. They came together, and I think I ended up winning that one by 25 seconds. So it was obviously one of my best performances. And in the second one, went in, and it was a lot more pressure. I was definitely feeling the pressure for that one. But I just knew I had to do the same as what I did in the first one, and
It's just that simple, isn't it?
Yeah, just go and try and do the same thing again. So yeah, it was meant when I got the championship. So
and do you know from racing with Casey? I know he gets he's very like sort of highly tipped to go on to be going on to big things. Obviously, he's managed by Shaky and Matt Roberts, and for his age and for his size, I mean, I've seen some of the stuff that he's done on them practice bikes, the practice tracks, and the skill that lad has for his age is incredible.
Oh, definitely.
Do you from racing with him? Do you sort of tip him to go on to big things?
He's definitely a good rider. He's definitely not going to be up the front if he wasn't. I think we've raced with him from when I mentioned the NMRC days. He's always sort of been around. I knew we went over to Italy for a bit sort of after we raced with him in that. But I remember when I first started racing with him, he was literally just old enough to fit on a mini moto, and I'd just started, and he was always beating me then. So he's been meeting me for a few years anyway before.
See,
before
that
we got
it's
into British
funny
Talent
because
Cup.
when you watch British Talent Cup and you'd see you're a lot bigger and older, you kind of think to yourself,
Yeah, you
like,
think you
he's
chuck it around more, yeah.
well, you would think he's much younger, so therefore, like, you've got more
Yeah,
experience.
yeah.
Where in fact, he's probably had more bike time.
Yeah,
than
yeah,
you, even though he's-
probably, yeah.
which is interesting. I think a lot of people don't really take that into
Yeah,
consideration to this. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, he is. Have you seen some of the stuff that he does? He's got like I think it must be a 150 or something, and he
Yeah,
literally just
something
like
like
he'll have a track to himself in Spain and just like absolutely nail it into a corner, totally sideways, like elbow down, locked, and then catch it on us. Honestly, for like 13-year-old or whatever, he is a bit special, to be honest. But yeah, so on to after winning the Motorstar, getting a bit bigger, so you think go the 600 route, and I know you're very involved with a very good friend of ours, Boasty.
Yeah,
when did
Boast,
when did that relationship?
Not really sure when it happened. I think it was the year before I went to Super Teens. It was another lad who was actually from Durham, Liam Bassett, who he used to ride in NMRC and things like that. But yeah, we went down with him. We booked that deal with him. We went down, and it was one of the practice. It was a lesson day. Sorry, it was like the level 1. Do you know what Pete does there?
The flat track school.
Yeah. So we did that, and Pete sort of said, "Oh, you look quite good from the first time." Yeah, he said you're taking it quite well, and can't really remember. I think we sort of just got on from then, and I think he asked me back down, and then eventually started just letting me go down. With you. yeah. No, he's always been really good, letting us go down quite a lot, like when other people don't and stuff like that. So he's just always being really helpful and shown an interest. So
he's got quite a good history for bringing talent through, because Tim and Tom Neve, they only really got into racing through Boasty moving to the village by like pure chance.
Yeah.
But and is he kind of running you this year? I know see him next.
Yeah, he's pretty much doing everything. He's sort of mechanicking. Obviously, I think you met Ryan earlier, didn't you, today?
Yeah.
Him and Ryan have been running us.
Has Boasty ever done that?
I don't think he has, to be honest.
I don't think he has he?
No,
you know what I mean?
no.
He's obviously helped people. He's always been at the farm and developing skills in that way. If you know what I mean. But I've never seen him at a track being, well, let's label it crew chiefing.
Yeah.
Is that would you call him your crew chief kind of thing?
Yeah. He's sort of the one who sits me down and gives me a talking to before I go out, things like that. So
Does he ever get mad at you? I can't imagine him mad. He's literally like one of the nicest.
He's laid back. He's spot on.
Don't get me wrong. If you haven't seen Pete Boast, if he was the other side of a bar staring you out, you'd shit yourself, right? But he's generally one of the nicest people in the world, isn't he? What's that angry pirate want?
He's some pilot on the tarmac. I know he does a lot of the classic racing with CRMC, and when I've been to watch Dom, I've seen him, and he's right at the front. He's got like a blue and white. What is it, Dom? The blue and white one that Boasty rides.
They're all blue and white.
Yeah,
he's got a thing about palm.
Blue and white bikes.
He does, doesn't he? He's got. He will ride anything, and he'll ride it hard. I'm telling you. I hope his wife's not listening to that. I did not mean that.
Have you been out on tarmac with him?
We did. We've done a little bit on. I think it was there was an endurance race at Wilton Mill not too long ago. I think we might have been on the same track then, but it's mainly just at the flat track school if we get out with each other, really.
And how have you found adapting to the 600?
Yeah, I've just started to enjoy it a lot more, really. I think I was just getting a little bit bored, sort of saying the Moto 3, so it's just with the speed, really, and obviously, like you say, I was getting bigger, so I was struggling more and more on the straights with all the younger kids coming through. I've at the start we struggled a little bit with a setup, things like that, and we've just slowly progressed, really, with like you say, today we got a 5th position, so that's our best position this far, so it's happy to be at the top end.
Let's even like that position where you got today is outstanding, by the way. But talk about when you first got into 600 then, and why did you go down the Kawasaki 636 route, not the R6? Let's go through that.
Well, my first go on a 600 was on a CBR, and there's a guy called Carlos who's also a friend of Pete. Sorry, and. He was lending us his bike to ride at Cadwell, basically, because obviously it's quite close to Pete's. And I did honestly really struggle with the CBR at the start, just coming into corners, basically just getting the clutch out without it spitting me off, basically.
CBR 600 this is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
so-
sorry.
Did not have a slipper clutch in.
No, I don't think it did. And then
My old TBR 600 didn't. I bought an aftermarket one because
yeah,
you drop the clutch and it like chatters.
yeah, it would just bounce along the floor. Yeah,
Yeah.
And, like obviously the back straight of Cadwell coming into that right height, it was just horrendous there. So I ended up having to go Pete's Triumph. He's got a 675. I think it's a little bit more tuned than a stock one, but I really enjoyed the Triumph, and that was initially like what I wanted to ride. Just after riding that, because I felt really comfortable on the Triumph. And then there was a few other options about what just basically were too expensive for us. We couldn't afford it. And then Pete, just being Pete, sort of said, right, just I'll see what I can do. I'll see what's out there. And he ended up having a word with Chris Walker, and he managed to short us a really good deal. And obviously we're racing under Chris Walker this year, so yeah, it was sort of Pete who
All right, the team's under the Chris Walker banner
yeah,
as well
yeah,
as.
under Chris Walker. Yeah.
So what's the team name then?
Chris Walker Racing.
Chris Walker is. No. I just thought Franco, but like.
Yeah, it's just Chris Walker
right.
Racing. Yeah.
Oh, there we go then. There we go.
Yeah, it's helped us really, did us a good deal with the bike and things like that, and so it's wouldn't really be riding without.
It was great to see Chris Walker. Did you see him win a race the other week?
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, against John McGuinness.
Yeah,
all but gold.
Yeah.
It was brilliant that, and just a dead quick run through. So, like, say first race at Oulton Park. Roughly, where were you?
First race at Oulton Park, I think it was back in 13th, something like that. I remember it was in the top 15 anyway. So
that's a fantastic start.
Yeah,
Straight into the.
yeah.
I mean, people
Top
do
15. Come in.
people do stock 600 for years and you, like struggle to get them the
Yeah.
points. So just as a starting point, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
And then just, I mean, we're only a few rounds in, aren't we?
Yeah,
5
yeah,
rounds in.
yeah.
To
Got
break
more to go.
inside the top 5.
Yeah,
Hell of a ride. And I watched the race. I watched the race back up the road today.
Yeah.
And there were some big crashes. Did you see? Well, if you've watched it back, you'll have seen Zach Cordery.
All right, yeah. I haven't seen the race
Is
yet.
he
I
the
haven't watched it.
Ben
Yeah,
Shanahan bike?
Green
Yeah.
yeah. And he, I mean, he looked really good, but do you know Cade?
Verway.
It looks like Verway, but it
Yeah.
gets is it Verway? Verway, I
Yeah,
think
Verway,
it's.
something like that.
Oh, there's a name.
Yeah.
I like it.
Can you remember when you used to call me Rousset?
Oh, God.
Right at the start of the podcast. Yeah, but anyway, Cade
Rousset.
Verway I think he was running about 3rd, and Zach going into McLean's just caught the back of him.
I did actually see just the back end of it, sort of them coming off the track. It looked fast as well, didn't it?
Big old crash, and then it kind of left, and also George Stanley had a nasty high side coming on the start finish straight, but it kind of left you in the battle. You say you're 5th, but there was 3rd, 4th, 5th all together.
Yeah.
And it was Eugene and Max Cook.
Max Cook, yeah.
And Max, another one that's you'll have raced with in the British Talent Cup.
British Talent Cup, yeah.
And did he go over to Spain to race?
He did have a few years in the British Talent team in the Junior World Championships, the one that Eddie O'Shea's got now.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had 2 years out there, and he did the Red Bull Rookies as well. I think he did quite well in that as well.
When you think, Franco, do you know from that, like the opportunities that you've both had, so for you to be, battling and actually beaten, especially, I think Max runs out of FS3 as well, doesn't he? So his bike will be brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is his first year, obviously, and I think he's struggled a little bit with setup so far, but it seems like he's...
So I'm not blowing smoke up your arse, young'un, but you're doing a good job. Very good job.
Thank you,
How often do you get out off the track at BSB, or are you literally, you and your parents and your grandparents are just focusing financially just on that?
Yeah, we don't definitely get enough riding as I should,
Yeah.
or I'd like to anyway. Like I say, we did a little bit of motocross with Pete not too long ago, just at Blue Barns, not too far from here actually. If you haven't been there,
I've driven past it quickly.
Yeah, it was a little bit hard. There was
that in the
rocks
classic?
like that in it. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was good.
But as far as tarmac on your bike, really, you're just turning up British and just going from there.
Yeah.
I just thought Blue
You're doing
Barns.
a mint job.
Blue Barns is. Do you know when you did your backflip? The lad that came to do to build the
Oh,
ramp
Bash.
owns Blue Barns.
Does he?
Yeah,
Do you know
that's
what?
his track.
When me and Pete turned up there, someone came up and said, "Oh, I seen you on the podcast straight away." When literally we just got out the van and someone came up to Pete and was like, "Oh, seen you on the podcast chasing the race, and we were like, everywhere I go with Pete, he knows someone who I see every time. So,
I tell you what, he's a great bloke.
yeah,
Peter,
yeah, he is.
Without a doubt. Without
Definitely
a doubt.
wouldn't be here without him this year, so it's good that he sorted it out.
Fantastic. And I tell you what, well, let's go to the East Fortune crack, because you were up racing, was it the 600?
600 and Super Twin.
Super Twin. And also your old man was out?
He was. My dad was actually out. He had a couple of years ago, he literally went into the side of a mountain. He literally obliterated his femur, like big metal rod down his leg to stabilise it. And at first, he was actually going to lose his leg, a bit dramatic, but he was going to lose his leg because the bone wasn't growing.
Was that a motorbike crash, was it?
Oh, God. Classic Superbike 750.
Oh, right.
Literally gearbox locked up, tipping in, ran about 4th, 5th, back to 4th, tipping in, but you're just totally balls out committed. And he just tipped in, locked, bang, that was it. And like I said, like the bone started growing rapidly in his leg, which is brilliant. It just went from not like literally, it was like a light switch one day, it started growing bone. So he's having that pin out in September, which at the end of September, which is brilliant. So he's rode round this weekend. No, the problem is if you get metal structure in your legs, and you bend it, that's it.
Yeah, they have to smash it, don't you?
That is, you're totally, utterly knackered, and you just think that's a lot of pressure, that mind.
Yeah.
And bearing in mind, he's gone out this weekend, he's trying to get his mountain course license back, which he will, but you just need to get so many signatures. So he turned up on the Super Twin, and the game was all wrong, this is all wrong, but my God, I tell you what, you just can't keep the man down, you know. This is what we're all going to turn into, you know. He got on the track, and it was just like just jumping up and down on the fucking button, and he just went off like a scolded cat. Me mother, God love me mother, and I hope they don't listen to this, because I don't swear in front of them, but anyway, I really hope they're not listening to this. But I am unbelievably proud. It's amazing how that turns round, but it was just he just went off like a scolded cat. Tell you what, he was lucky, mind. 750, that same 750, we reckon the head gasket's gone, but it's gone into the overfill bottle, and it was pumping oil out the back. It looked like a Bond villain car. There was smoke pouring out the back. I'm standing on the tyre wall, screaming. Everyone was screaming out and waving. But you know, how often do you look at the crowd when riding?
No.
No. You just don't. You periodically don't. You just look at the apex and you go for it, and the smoke was bellowing out the back of this thing. And the back of the bike was absolutely, put it this way, I sprinted that hard from one side of it. Well, you've never been, wasted talking to you, but you know the railway strip.
Yeah.
I literally, by the time he went into that apex, I jumped off the tyre wall. I got to the top corner to get down to wave to him again, and look, thank God the bike actually came to a stop.
No,
oil everywhere.
Yeah.
When we talk about racing dad, like motocross dads, are you like a racing son? Is there such a thing?
That's the thing. I never ever had the motocross dad ever. My dad doesn't come racing without him racing.
Yeah.
You know, I never ever had the motocross dad but my God, I tell you what, you don't have shit your pants when you see oil pissing on the back tyre of your dad's bike. Definitely. When you're thinking, if you broke that, goals, you know, in this game, it's the look of the landing. Some of the biggest crashes that you could see in your life, and they just somehow some people get up. It's like even, I tell you what, I'm going to jump back off the subject, but Bradley Perry knocked off, like, what do you call him, Jack Kennedy, who clipped Lee Johnson. Lee Johnson went into a gravel trap. He was not getting up. I haven't watched that. You're going to have to watch that, because I haven't watched any of the, like, it was the other half, we're travelling up the road, chatting on the phone, and then thing is, you're racing, Brad's gone for a move. We all do it, you know what I mean? You go for it, and it didn't work out. Unfortunately, Brad's hit Kennedy, who has hit Lee, but Lee was not getting up quickly. And Lee actually had the bike upright into the gravel trap, but come down.
Yeah, come down with you.
And you think, well, in theory, out of the two that have hit the tarmac, you think they would come off worse. Them two were straight up, but you think Lee's obviously caught his hand somewhere and twisted it or something. He wasn't getting up very quickly.
Is he injured, is he?
I have no idea as far as social media or anything like that after the fact of the race. I don't know what's happened, but you know when you watch someone and they hit the ground,
do you know
you tend to get up immediately, don't you? And Lee wasn't. Don't get me wrong. He not life-threatening, touch wood for the love of God, but he's twisted or broken something. But that's the thing about this game. It's the look of the landing.
Did you see the crash in Junior Supersport on the grid?
No, what happened there?
My God.
That was a really nasty crash.
That was unreal. I tell you what, remember when you looked like an absolute pansy and you literally jumped up and down and laid the bike down? It was.
I've got a video for
You'll have to show Chrissy that.
It shows it, and if you send us it, I'll get Grace to put it on the thing as well.
So I'll describe it to our audio listeners at the moment, but it's a case of when Chrissy actually stood up last year, put the bike down and ran to the side. That was the safest thing ever. So this is a case of in the race, someone stalled mid-pack, put the hand up. Watch this.
Oh, I think
that's huge.
The lad who got hit, I think he's broke both of his legs as well.
Never.
So yeah, it was.
Hope he's all right.
So where was he in that? He was third, third down the pack. No, sorry,
I'd say sort of halfway, maybe a little bit further back.
Yeah, halfway down the pack. So he has done the correct thing. The lad has done the correct thing. So he's put his hand in a stall situation. Anyone who's doing their ACU license, that's exactly how you do it. You stall, you put your hand up.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of traffic and a lot of movement. I think
even when you see them, but you just don't expect them not to be moving. That's
the thing. And even wave yellows, you're like, adrenaline's on, and you're going and you're not going, and people are swerving. Yeah. And at that point, if you're in the middle of a swerve like that, you do not know which way to swerve.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that was a big asshole.
I'm just trying to catch up on the Supersport crash, but I'm just looking. Both Perry and Kennedy were 7th and 8th at the time. Is
that Sam Monroe?
No, that's Philip Wakefield.
He can ride a bike, that boy, man. I'm telling you, that Wakefield lad.
Any ideas why? Because them two are usually first and second, aren't there? Any ideas why they were so far down?
Charlie Nesbitt did well, didn't he, on the GP2 bike?
He's flying. Yeah. He's just totally dominating that class. What about? That'll be a good class for you. Just.
Yeah, it's,
would you hold on before we go into that? Harry Truelove.
I was just about to say, give him his moment of fame.
My God, Harry Truelove! I've never been so happy. It's outstanding. I would like to say I taught him everything he knows. I'm only saying that to piss him off because I know he'd be listening right now. But Ali, the Truelove family, would be absolutely over the moon. And what a ride that was, mate, with Ben Curry. Absolutely. Harry, I hope you're listening. Mint job, mate. Absolutely outstanding job. Ooh. Yeah, watch.
So I'll get Grace to send you this.
Grace will be listening to this now going, I don't want to edit this into it. But you'll have to watch this.
So they're coming through.
They're coming from the pack from fair bit down the pack. You're talking 5 championship leaders here. You got Pash in front of them, haven't you?
Yeah, and then Perry's just at the back here.
Ready, bang. Ooh. Watch Lee. Watch. That's quite a relatively. Watch. Everyone else is up. Lee did not want to get up.
Oh.
That is not like Lee Johnson. You know what I mean?
He looks injured. Is he okay?
I have no idea. I hope by the time this comes out,
the crash in Stock 6 a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, that was the same corner actually.
Pretty much same crash,
by the way, what else happened in that superbike racing? Because Glenn Irwin's got a dislocated apparently pandemonium. I have not watched any other this race.
That's the same corner as well. Skinner took Glenn out and properly smashed his bike up big time. But I think that was in the first race. Yes, first race today. There was, to be honest, it was probably the most hectic, action-packed superbike race of the season.
I heard it. I was just getting changed after my race, and I heard everyone on the sound. It was going crazy. It was the commentator was going mad, saying it was. I think Bradley Ray was up the front as well, wasn't he?
Bradley Ray got on the podium.
Yeah, he nicked a second in the end. To be fair, it was there was a safety car. It was a 26-lap race, and the safety car came out on lap 24, I think. So that extended to 28, and at the time it was Taz was miles ahead. Then I think it was Peter Hickman. Then a gap. Then Jason O'Halloran, or them two might have been the other way around. Then a big gap to the pack.
Yeah.
Safety car came in with 2 laps to go, I think, and Bradley Ray nicked a couple of places. Yeah. And as he went over the line, it actually came up he'd won, but when they checked it, he was a close second. But it was like a proper action-packed race.
The OMG Rich Energy will be over the moon with that, because that'll be their first podium this year. Got to be. Has to be.
I think it is. Yeah.
Got to be in it. They'll be a happy lot. They'll be very very happy lot.
This so the biggest sort of contentious part of the race was Andy Irwin and Christine had it coming together. I'll show you so you can sort of make your own mind up. But the racing was so aggressive, and I haven't spoken to anyone about it, so I don't like know for sure what's going on, but there was something going on between Idden and the Irwins on the first race on Saturday.
Off track or on track?
Both. When Glenn got interviewed after the first race, he said something about it was a throwaway comment, something to do with Idden like passing too close or something on his interview, and it sounded like a bit of a joke, but it was definitely a dig. And so that was the first thing I knew of it. But apparently there was something going on in pit lane or something, and I don't want to just be spouting shite, but there was something going on anyway. And then in the race here, so it's the first time Andy Irwin's been up battling for the wins and podiums this year, and really tight, obviously, as you can see. And I'll just show you as they come in. So they've already overtaken each other.
You've got Glenn behind.
Yeah, they've already
and then you've got Andrew, and then you've got Mackenzie out the front there.
Yeah, they've already overtaken each other a few times, and so far all the passing that was on camera looked, I would say, looked clean. And then Christian comes up the inside, and he goes massive, like gives Andy loads of room. He doesn't like brush up the inside. So at this point,
clean. That's
he's
miles
like
away.
He's like almost too generous with the space that he gives him.
He could get O'Halloran comfully.
Yeah, so at that point, obviously Christian's went very narrow, so you would anticipate him running wide, and you can tell Andy's obviously looking for the cutback here. But when they get to this point here, Christian's actually made the apex. So I think at this point Andy would be expecting him to run wide,
and he's not.
He doesn't. Yeah. He holds his line on the inside, and he still tries to get underneath him.
Right.
And I think if you look there, he has to. Yeah, he's on the inside of the white line.
He's actually on the rumbles, isn't he? So
on the curb, and makes contact, and Christian goes down. So just play. I tell you what, I'll play it through in full speed without pausing, so you can sort of see it at race action. So,
and while that's happening, where does that leave Idden in the championship then at the moment? But you see, the showdown stuff throws it all out the window, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, knocks him and just clean off. It's
I like Christian Idden as well. I think he's class.
Oh, he's sound.
I've never seen him like that. Well, you would be, wouldn't you? But I've never seen him like that, mate.
Christian's been on such a good run this year. So consistent. Look, in all weather conditions, and unfortunately got taken out by Lee Jackson at Thruxton. Yeah. And up until that point, I think he did the full season last year without one crash in any test practice race, and finished third in the championship, which is like ridiculous if you think about it. And then so far this year, I don't think he'd had a single crash. Then got taken out, and then unfortunately this weekend he got taken out again, and he then crashed in the third one as well. So really sort of tough weekend for Christian.
Well, the third one was just he took a gamble on a tyre choice, which was the right thing to do at the time. It just caught him out, didn't it? It was like, it was that tyre. For me as a fan, right, I literally listened to this on the TSL timing on the way back down from East Fortune, and it was a fact that you know when you get the weather like that, it's just a proper, for me it's entertainment, isn't it?
Now, oh yeah,
as ride as you hate, you either want to wet or dry, don't you? You know what I mean? So
now we need to look at this as well, because a few laps later in the race, Peter Hickman comes up the inside of Andy into the chicane and just absolutely nails it. Like it looks outrageous. He just T-bones him basically in the chicane. Andy has to run onto the green, has literally nowhere to go. It's like super aggressive from Hickman. I've never seen it.
I think they had a little bit at Thruxton as well before him and Andrew Irwin, didn't they?
This year?
No, I think it was last
year.
Yeah,
the finger. But then after that,
what on finger? Did he give him the finger? Or something?
Yeah, I think once he got past it, Hickman did.
Gave him the
Irwin,
finger.
I think. Once he got in front.
The thing is, so like when I seen it, I thought Hickman had. I thought it wasn't. I didn't think it was dirty. I just thought Hickman had went for a really
aggressive move.
Yeah, like what's the word, like optimistic move, and didn't pull it off. Yeah, and they were very lucky that they both stayed on. But in my head, I thought like Hickman would be thinking, "Oh, like I messed up there."
Yeah.
Anyway, he goes back. He overtakes Andy down Craner curves and doesn't tip in, and like pushes Andy right out. Honestly, if
that what you're about to
Andy,
show us here?
yeah, I'll show you. If Andy goes on to the,
Have you seen this?
No,
Here,
I
come
haven't
on,
seen
come on,
it
come here,
yet.
come here, come here. I know we're ruining the favourite.
I need to fast forward it a little bit. If Andy goes down here, it's like a massive crash.
Danny
Danny
Kent. He's dislocated his hip.
Oh,
Right.
In
so-
that crash, he's dislocated. Imagine dislocating the hip. No, how my last feels.
Right, I think
I wish.
I'll try and find it. Yeah, it'll be somewhere around here. So Hickman's up through the pack. I think
is it Andrew Owen or is it
Hickman's
Glenn
up to
Owen?
third there. Andy Owen
Oh,
again.
Andrew.
He seemed to be in this. I don't know if like Hickman might have seen the Andy Glenn incident and maybe like felt like he needed to get revenge.
Yeah.
Or
So
something.
you got race control at the bottom, number 69 plus 2. That's Skinner, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nick Gervais' number.
We need. I've just thought. Also, another thing is when Glenn and Christian have had this thing going. When Andy knocked Glenn off, I'll show you. I'm pretty sure Glenn raised a fist behind, like almost. I'll show you. I'm not. Yeah. Which isn't.
Now, isn't at this point with Glenn, is he dislocated his shoulder at this point?
Skinner took him out. I think it was this race.
Right.
So
Skinner's quite a way back there.
I mean, the racing's so tight.
Look at
this.
that, man.
Yeah, watch Hickman here. Boof!
Have some of that.
I mean, that is
Hey,
very harsh. Like,
I tell you what, fair, but Andrew Owen, well done for keeping all of that mind.
yeah, obviously I had to run onto the green, but you would think at this point that so
Look,
Hickman.
he's doing it again.
Watch, Hickman.
Racing's mint,
Yeah.
isn't it?
So then Andy obviously gets the cut back here, and then watch Hickman here. I mean,
That is.
I'm a
Oh, brilliant.
I'm a big Hickman fan, but to me that was dangerous.
Yeah, that
If
was.
Andy-
That is so fast down there.
If Andy just had to go on the curb on the outside,
How
if he
did
hadn't
Andrew hold on to
No,
that?
it's a
and went
fast
into the
place to
thingy,
run
he
on,
could.
isn't it?
That could be like a
yeah.
massive crash. That
Would have been humongous.
And just to show it, like it looks like Hickman gets the line up the inside and then just doesn't tip it. He like purpose. I don't know. If, maybe I'm reading into it. Maybe giving the benefit of the doubt. I don't know.
Going down that
Maybe
hill.
it was a
That
bit
is
hard
key.
to tip it in. Maybe he's just struggled to get it
That's
down.
key. But I tell you what, hats off to Andrew Irwin holding on to that. Look at the lean angle on a dirty part of the track.
I didn't even know there was a
rumble strip.
down
I think
crane.
your mum hit I'm more towards the grass than the rumble strip. I really hit the bit of grass on the outside.
But yeah, the racing, there does have to be a line, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now, in terms of penalties, Andy got a 2-second penalty for the Christian incident. And I think that was the only. There was a few more penalties in the race for like running onto the green and things like that. But
I'm looking forward to watching this later on. This is the problem. It's like watching the trailers. You get the whole film.
Yeah.
That's the thing. What's been your tastiest moment so far then in racing? Like something similar that like.
I've been knocked off a few times here and there. I've never really knocked anyone off. I'm quite a clean rider, I think.
Yes, see, there you go.
But no.
One day we're gonna guess that, guys. I'm the dirtiest rider known about.
just
Who's been the dirtiest rider of all time? There's got to be like a stand.
that was a nice clean pass for Christian past Andy that for that one. I think it was the next lap that that incident happened. Yeah, it was.
In MotoGP, sorry, while you're going on with that, who's been out of all classes across the planet? Who's been the most entertaining rider? You know what I mean? That you think who's the biggest hand grenade?
I think Simon Shelley was quite entertaining.
A hand grenade,
wasn't
wasn't he? He was a hand grenade,
I
wasn't
thought he was really good. Yeah,
He was.
always entertaining, wasn't he?
You just hold your breath when you're watching it, weren't you?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
totally agree with that one.
But and before we move, World Tour bikes were at that Czech track the other week. Did you see any of the race? I think was it called Moss or something like that? The track.
Yeah, it was something a bit weird. Yeah,
New track, and the biggest talking point was the top. Did you see Top Rack red and scrap?
Yeah,
See it?
It's
Some
World
harsh
Tour
moves,
bikes is
wasn't
good.
there?
Oh,
Do you know what? For me, I've missed the MotoGP today, so I don't know the results yet. But for me, World Superbike. If he's had a World Superbike race and a MotoGP race, I've always been MotoGP. And right now, if there was if they were both on at the same time, I think I would probably be more interested to see what's happening with Top Rack and Red and
of course,
Johnny.
it's spiced up again, hasn't it? You know what I mean? It's like Jonathan Ray. He's kind of. that unstoppable force has kind of got it, like, you know, put blood in the water, the sharks will come, won't they? And it just seems to be getting a bit tasty.
Now,
I tell you what, I bet his missus is over the moon, mind, because Scott Redden's been waiting for that win for a canny while to put a ring on it, hasn't he?
He said he's been waiting to do it since Donington, I think.
There we go, he's like that.
So this was
I'm going to be single forever.
This was one of the races. This was like the biggest talking point. So it was Redden versus Top Rack for the win. Redden was leading on the last lap here. And
Look at this leg dangle. Look at the commitment on the brakes.
at that point, Top Rack lunged him, but like nowhere near making it stick. And then it looked like 2 seconds. It looked like the move was totally off, but then this is just
this Top Rack talking about his moves?
Yeah, and then
all right, that's an interesting.
So this one here was the race winning overtake. For me, that is unbelievable pass. It's
perfect block pass.
Had to lift Redden up, and I think Redden was really angry. I mean, watch him when he goes over the line. Angry. He's furious. Like shaking his hat. And
look how fast that Ducati is.
Look, and even in Park Fermé, Redden was proper kicking off with him. And
I saw it on Instagram.
Thought it was unacceptable move. For me,
it was clean enough.
For me, that he did have to lift up.
Not clean. It's racing. Rubbin's racing, but he wasn't rubbing.
But I think
it was upright.
I'd go on a last lap. I don't think there's anything wrong. Like some of the best overtaking maneuvers ever. Like Rossi's race winning.
A little bit sketchy.
Have been where they've lifted up. For me, Top Rack is exactly what World Superbikes needs right now. Somebody like, you know, when you watch it, he's definitely going to have a go on the last lap, and that's what the sport's about for me. I'm a big fan, to be honest. And
I like his style as well. I think he looks really nice on a bike.
I can't believe how greedy he is on the brakes.
Did you see the turn one thing, the slow motion thing? The rear wheel's like a foot off the ground all the way in. Slow motion, and then he gets to the apex, just drops it and tips in.
Did you see him last corner of Donington where he snapped back and he ran out? That was so aggressive.
No one else is doing that though, are they? Like no one.
Really, I don't. I think Scott Wren did a bit when he came to BSB. He had a few moments at like Open Park,
but not endoing into a corner and then parking it and turning it. It's just class, man.
It is meant to watch.
In other sort of big news as well. The Vinales crack being suspended from Yamaha. Have you seen the videos?
No. Everyone's saying the quick shifter sounds broken. He's just revving the nuts out. Toys have gone out the pram.
You can see him when he comes in. He's just holding it on.
It's like
trying to how much. I haven't got the facts or the figures yet, but how much at a guess would one of them engines be? You're talking tens of thousands. When I was in British Talent Cup, we were all in Carl Crutchlow's garage. And I think we were looking at something like a spring, his rear spring for the suspension, and we said, "Oh, how much is that?" He said, "You get to hire it for 40,000," and it was literally just like a shock.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's like I can imagine
big money
for an engine, it'll be massive money. Yeah.
And he's literally twanging it off. Now, if you were an employer, you were Pete Boast, right?
Pete said it like that is just unacceptable. It is like, isn't it? Yeah, for the amount of people coming along to help and things like that.
But that's the thing, though, isn't it? And like, how much would he be on? He's a factory Yamaha rider. Are we talking £1 million contract more? What's a guess?
Yeah, I think when he went from Suzuki to Yamaha, I think he went for like a couple of million a year, maybe 1 or 2 million. But he'll be on probably a bit more than that. Well, Marquez was on. Was it 100 million for 4 years? So 25 million.
Oh my God,
I think Lorenzo had that as well. I think for 2 years or something like that.
I think Dovi had a big fall now because he thought he was underpaid, but we are talking like millions. Like with all of his sponsorship and stuff, he'll be on a good old.
You're going to be twatting off the limiter. But like, if I was Mr. Yamaha, I wouldn't let him even wear the shirt. He's walking around the paddock with my team shirt on. I'd be like, "Sorry, son, your hand, your gun, your badge in."
They should put Morbidelli in his seat. Because
a lot of people have said that.
That was the next question. I wonder, who do you want to put in the seat?
Yeah, I think Morbidelli's be good to see him on that bike.
And I tell you what, looking at the hoodie, the 46, how good are you? Let's go back to it.
I think it's definitely time for him to retire, obviously, but I think it will be a bit sad for people, won't it?
I tell you what, I bet Silverstone this year will be like an absolute sellout one. It's coming up.
I was sort of thinking myself as well, heading down, because obviously the British Talent Cup's there as well, aren't
You'd be like that, Franco, you're doing a grand job, you
I would love to go. Do you know if you're free that weekend?
Which week? I have no. Look,
It's August bank holiday, isn't it?
I think so. It's coming up really soon.
I'll have to have a look into that. Just a quick rundown. I need to give a special shout out to my teammate Storm Stacey, who did a fabulous job today. Got his best superbike result by a mile, with a 6th place today in the final race. So massive well done to Storm and all the team. I know how much effort, and time, money goes into it. So they'll be absolutely over the moon with that. Just a quick rundown. So the championship right now for British Superbikes, Jason O'Halloran is top, followed by Tara McKenzie, Christian in 3rd, Danny Buchan 4th, Tommy Bridewell 5th, Peter Hickman 6th, Glenn Owen 7th, and Bradley Ray rounds out the top 8, which is like the new showdown type of thing.
So how close is Skinner to 12 points off getting in it?
Yeah, people that are close. So we've got Skinner 9th, Lee Jackson 10th, Vickers 11th, Brooks 12th, Andy Owen 13th, Gino 14th, and Kyle Ryden 15th.
I think what do you call him? Is doing an absolutely outstanding job this year. Ryan Vickers, he's coming out hot and heavy, isn't he?
He was fantastic this weekend. He had a few penalties for I think it was running on the green. One race he was supposed to be on the front row and 3rd, and he missed I don't know what happened, but he had to start last on the grid and came through like a trooper and was up battling ended up being in the race winning battle at the end. I know there was a safety car, but still he was like unbelievable coming through, and he ran on, I think. So
he's doing a absolutely. He's always doing a good job, but I think he's doing it particularly. He's on the pace, like
absolutely outstanding. Did you see Josh Brooks went back to running number 25 this weekend?
Superstition.
It must be a superstition thing.
Superstition.
There was glimmer, especially in practice. He was up with Christian. It looked like he'd taken a big step. He got a really good result in the last race, 4th, but it was a. I
wonder how many people have noticed that though. I haven't watched any of the racing, but I don't think I would have noticed that.
Oh, really?
You just recognise them. I don't actually look at the number plate. Do you look at the? Anyway, I don't. I recognise them off the style and everything like that.
The final race, people, I think intermediate tyres were the ones to go for, but people went for wets and dries. So there was a few, like say Jason O'Halloran was down in 12th. Which he's been 1st and 2nd nearly every race this season. So Tommy Bridewell got the win in the last one with Glenn Irwin and Andy Irwin. So it was an Irwin podium. Josh Brooks 4th, Joe Francis 5th, which will be his best superbike result. Really good result for him. And obviously, like I said, Storm as my teammate got a 6th, which is fantastic. So
I tell you what, Dean Harrison.
Yeah,
look at that.
He ran on as well. He's Dean Harrison.
Joe Francis booted him out the way.
Yes, sorry.
Joe Francis literally cut the nose off. Dean literally got contacted, picked the thing back up, and then carried on.
He did unbelievable to stay on that. Yeah, you're right. And
where was that? I didn't see that.
Going into the final chicane.
Park.
Oh, right.
He came across on him, and it should have been a massive crash. He did brilliant to save it, ran on, and then still finished 8th, which, like you said, is unbelievable. Look
at the faller list, though.
I know.
Is that a fallers list?
Yeah.
No, wait. Kyle Ryde, Ryan Vickers, Brian McCormick, all right.
Yeah, there was
my giddy aunt. It's been something like I literally caught the last 10 minutes of everything. It was like, this is just fucking mental. Where have I been all weekend?
Actually passed the Cowton race and van and caravan coming. They were going south as I was coming north back up to Newcastle.
Fran breaking every speed limit on the way there. You go full clog Fran.
Did you say the 600 and the twin or just 600?
Yeah. Oh God, hold on. No, my mind's gone blank here. I had a point there about the BSB and it's totally gone to pot. So
this weekend he's fortunately on the 600.
Yeah, 600 and Super Twin.
And how did the races go?
This is not going well for me. I'm literally having a full-on brain fart here, an absolute meltdown. Hey God.
How did the races go?
It was all right. It was all right. I don't like talking about myself. That's the problem here, son. I think I'll have to squeeze it in another time. I really will. But how are you sitting in your championship at the moment?
Just looking at it, I think I'm just outside the top 10 now. I think if I'd have got 2 more points in that race, I'd have been put in the top 10. So not too bad, really.
Closing in nicely.
And how many rounds are left?
We're about bang in the middle of the season now.
So sort of halfway through.
In August. It's a delayed start thing again. Is any word on a new calendar yet for you lot?
Not that I'm aware of.
I haven't seen anything. No.
Have you preferred the later starts for the weather kind of thing?
No. It doesn't really bother me.
Mate, I've only probably had a proper chat with you around about what, an hour now, and you're the most laid back lad I've ever met in my life. Like, meh, yeah, bollocks to it. It's all good. So, what about yourself, Chrissy? What was your weekend like?
Really bad, to be honest.
Yeah,
horrendous.
So I haven't seen his race there, yeah. So
yeah, it really struggled all weekend, to be honest. Qualified 12th. First race was a wet one. Just started raining just before the race, so we went full wet setting and from 12th on the grid. I went straight up to 4th in turn 1, and me and Billy sort of pulled a bit of a gap, and I had plus, it was something like P2, like 9 laps to go, +1, and then the next lap there was like 6 riders past us. Like
I was watching your race in the last corner. It seemed like everyone was just moving about in the race so quick. They were going from first to back.
I felt mega really comfortable in the full wet, and we went with like a full wet setting, and as the track dried out, I just went backwards basically. Yeah. So.
But even in qualified, was it something like not even a second covering 1 to 20? It was something like ridiculous.
It was the same in my championship as well.
It was the same with you lot?
Yeah, it was closest I think it's been in a long time. So
it's got, and it was the same in Superbike. It is just is phenomenal, isn't it? How everything's just coming in like so much tighter.
And then we're back to back, obviously Cadwell next weekend, so looking forward to that. And you're away racing next weekend.
I classic racing with the Davies, but I tell you what, I've got to say something about the Stouth bike, mine. The fleece blankets on the tyres. I saw a photo of that. That was lovely. Little green Stouth logo on the side of it. That's a touch of class, that mine, isn't it? I think every sponsor is going to have to start doing that.
For the racing.
You'll have to get your...
Now you've mentioned that, I'll have to show you. I'll have to
Chris
show
Walker.
Yeah,
Chris Walker. There you are. Thank you, mate.
That was on the grid, and it was...
What the
the water was going down the back of my leather, so I put it on the back.
A Stouth fleece cover, there you go.
On the back.
You literally look like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
That was on the grid, getting ready to go.
There you go.
But I think, like I said, there'll be a quick turnaround for this podcast, and hopefully get it done through the night tonight and out straight away. But is there anything else to do you want to give a quick mention to social media?
Stephen Moore. I was going to give him a mention. I just seen him before I set off. He lives literally just over the road from my grandma's house. So he said,
I'd be a bit worried. He's a good photographer.
No, he's he said, make sure you don't forget this time, because the last one I did with Dave for Rich Energy, that was I forgot to give him a mention on that. So he said, make sure you get one on this one. So
good. Yeah. And just think next time you're with Boast, you had a motocross track, that instead of everyone coming over saying, "Oh, Boast, I know where you're from," the pod.
I might get a mention.
Maybe. But and get quick mention social media accounts. Are you on?
Instagram, it's francobourne.4617. It's Franco Bourne on Twitter, and it's Franco Bourne to Race on Facebook.
Fantastic.
So, outstanding. I tell you what.
I like what you did there, Born to Race.
There you are. I like it. Yeah. I like it. But I tell you what, I've got to give a massive shout out to your grandparents. Your granddad's out there still.
Yeah, he's sat out in the car now.
You've come back from racing. You know what I mean? It's 11 o'clock at night, and that, you know.
Yeah. My granddad's just drove all the way back up from Donington. I'd got a lift earlier on. He came up, picked me up from my house, brought me over here. So it's massive thank you to both of them, because they do put pretty much the whole life into it at the minute. So it's massive thank you to both of them.
Mint. Absolutely mint. Well, it's been a damn pleasure having you on, mate. And I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the season for you. I really can't wait. Really can't wait.
Fantastic. And as always, massive thank you to our sponsors, Colchester Kawasaki, and all of our patrons. And look forward to getting a few podcasts in the next couple of weeks. And
definitely.
So take care, everyone.
Good luck, son.
Yeah, thank you very much. Cheers.
All the best, mate. Take care.
Click, buy, deliver. With remote purchasing from the 2-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasing the Racing.